Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is Daily Drop number 41. Well, we got a couple of articles tonight following our usual format, and one of them is from Fox News, and the other one is from The Post. And the one from Fox News is Ben Sasse warning the prison's bureau director he better come prepared for the Senate grilling over this whole Epstein situation. Well, we all know that they like to talk tough in the Senate, right? They like to run their mouths like they're really going to hold people accountable, and then it's just a dog and pony show. Just like when they had the Major League Baseball players there over the steroid issue. Who cares? You guys are wasting taxpayer money over guys' physiques, because let's be clear. Who cares? All right? That's something for Major League Baseball to worry about, not for the Congress and the Senate. So you can bring up things like that on the House and say it's the people's business. But when something like this comes around, you guys, you'll have him out there. Don't get me wrong. You're going to bring him in and you're going to question him and you're going to make it look like there's going to be some things changing. But nothing ever changes. Nobody's ever going to be held accountable. Just like with the 9/11 Commission, just like with Benghazi, just like with the Las Vegas shooter. I can go on and on, right? How many times have we had something happen in this country, or they produce a boogeyman for us? Oh, hate this person. This was the person that was behind it. Meanwhile, we all know that none of this stuff happens in a vacuum, right? Especially things like that. There are so many different layers to these things that they try and present to us as so simple. And we're all starting to realize that is all a bunch of BS. All of the crap that they've fed you on TV, programming, that's why it's called programming. I mean, they feed you this stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And if you tell a lie enough times, people believe it as the truth, right? Well, how does the saying go? It takes a lie gets around the world before the truth even has time to put its pants on. Something like that, a Winston Churchill quote, I believe. And it's true, because you see how quick the smears get around. And then if they do have to make a retraction in one of these papers, it's very small at the very bottom. Oh, we had to correct so-and-so. But yet they still have these audacious headlines, these crazy clickbaity, salacious headlines with no substance in the articles. So we know that the media doesn't do their job, and we know that the Senate and the Congress don't do their job. Just look at what's going on right now. Absolutely, positively ridiculous. There's plenty of things that you could criticize Donald Trump for. A quid pro quo phone call with the Ukrainian prime minister? Come on, guys. What do you think happens in any negotiation with any president with any foreign power? Do you think Pakistan receives $3.8 billion of money just, to do what they want and that there's no stipulations? Do you think they're not supposed to control Peshawar? Do you think they're not providing information to take out the Taliban? Come on. There's things, and it's every president does it. Every single president does it. It's just how business is conducted on the world stage. We have the capital. They want the capital from us, so we give them the capital so we can persuade them to do things on the international stage. That's how this works. And what's going on right now in D.C., well, we have the hugest sex trafficking case at the highest levels of the government is absolutely atrocious. It's a shame, and it's a mockery of what our justice system should be. So I'll end my ranting right there, and we'll jump into the articles, because I know that's what everybody wants. First article we have is, like I said, from Fox News. It's Jeffrey Epstein case. Sasse warns prison bureau director to come prepared for Senate grilling. Days before the Bureau of Prisons is set to face its first public grilling about the death of Jeffrey Epstein, Senator Ben Sasse, Republican from Nebraska, sent a heated letter to the department's director, warning her to come prepared to give substantial answers about the Epstein case during her testimony to the Senate Judiciary Committee this coming Tuesday. All right, so I'll broadcast that meeting, maybe even while it's happening. Maybe do like a live podcast, maybe like a point for point as it's going on. Or maybe just a wrap-up, because I'm sure it'll be filled with a whole bunch of boring stuff that you guys really won't find too interesting. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll wait for it to wrap up, and then I'll do a wrap-up show on that. The second it ends, I'll pop on and I'll discuss what they talked about, and we'll see if we're getting any traction with these people, right? But at the very least, Ben Sasse is putting it on his radar, right? So maybe we should give him some credit for that, because like I always say, when it's time to give credit, we want to give the credit to people who deserve it. We want to be, we want to be rigid, and we want to demand that people hold others accountable, but at the same time, we want to let them know that we appreciate them jumping on board, even if it's, little things like this. Ben Sasse coming out and shooting off a fiery letter. Nobody else has done that. To pretend like this issue, which is by far the public's top concern with your agency, won't be a significant focus of attention at this hearing is naive. To the point of being laughable, Sasse wrote to BOP Director Kathleen Hawk Sawyer. While there may be particular details that you cannot yet answer, deflecting difficult questions won't cut it. All right, so now remember, Ben Sasse is on record saying he's going to be rough on Kathleen Hawk Sawyer. So we're going to hold him to that, and I'm going to give his office a call, in fact, probably in the morning, and I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to see how serious they are about pursuing justice here in this case, because, like I said, I really hope that they're as sincere about pursuing justice in this case as they are about a phone call to the Ukrainian Prime Minister. The letter was sent Monday, a week before the annual BOP oversight hearing, because, according to Sasse's office, the Justice Department indicated its unwillingness to provide substance on the Epstein death investigation during questioning. And this is a problem, right? This is a big problem. And I don't care if it's Eric Holder or Bill Barr or insert attorney general of your favorite political persuasion. They all do the same thing. They close ranks to protect the whole entire institution, because at the end of the day, folks, that's all they are. They're bureaucrats, lifelong bureaucrats. They were not elected by the people. They were appointed by those we elected. But yet, here they are, with more control than the President of the United States. If you don't think that the intelligence agencies as a whole have more power than the executive branch, you're fooling yourself, folks. You are fooling yourselves. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has been under fire since Epstein was found dead in his jail cell on August 10th at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in Manhattan. The medical examiner in New York classified Epstein's death as a suicide by hanging, but Epstein's brother Mark said he could have been murdered. Well, yeah, of course he could have been murdered. We don't have any evidence coming out one way or the other. You can't fault the guy's brother for thinking that his brother might have been murdered, right? Even if your brother was a heinous monster, even if he was a heinous monster, you'd want to, at the very least, I know I would, I want my brother to be served the coldest justice as possible. I'd be okay with him being buried underneath the prison or getting the death penalty, even, as long as it's administered by the state. What I wouldn't be okay with is my family member being murdered in cold blood in prison and no answers being given to us, right? That's crazy. It's ludicrous. And I know if I was Mark Epstein, which I am not, if it was me, though, I'd want them girls to have everything in that case. If I had the ability as the executor of his estate, I would freely give every bit of information to the families and to the girls who are abused. Anything that could help them pursue their justice is what I would do. And anybody who doesn't do that, I'm kind of skeptical of, honestly. I mean, at the very least, you're kind of a scumbag. There are a whole lot of people out there who breathed a sigh of relief, who believe their secrets died in that jail cell with him, Sasse told Fox News in a phone interview about Epstein, who was accused of operating a child sex trafficking network. It's unconscionable that the guy had all this information on co-conspirators, was not guarded each and every minute. Let me read that again, all right? There are a whole lot of people out there who breathed a sigh of relief, who believe their secrets died in that jail cell with him, Sasse told Fox News in a phone interview about Epstein. Listen to me. This is a sitting congressman. All right? This is a sitting member of the House. Oh, excuse me, a senator. I'm sorry, a senator saying this, not me. All right? A senator saying that this man was running a trafficking ring and that people are breathing sighs of relief now that he's dead. If everybody knows that this is the case, and everybody's talking about it, everybody with the Epstein didn't kill himself memes, and etc., why is the Justice Department still dragging their feet? Okay? Why? You'll never get any answers from them. They can stonewall you 3 ways to Sunday. Look how long it took everyone to get the 27 pages of redacted 9/11 information about Saudi's involvement. It's just such a farce. It's such political theater, and it's so disheartening when we sit here and you see it over and over and over and over again, and you feel. There was times where you feel powerless, nothing you could do, right? Before the age of the internet, when the only people you could talk to about things like this were people around the water cooler at work, a couple of buddies maybe, a couple family members. But now, with the internet and the ability for us to reach each other and to organize, they can't be as secretive as they used to be. And I think that it's one of the most beautiful things of the World Wide Web and the internet in general, is the way that we could all connect no matter where we are and get information from the people that are actually affected by what's going on, as opposed to by the people in charge who have, skin in the game to make sure everybody doesn't know the real story. The BOP has faced scrutiny since over its handling of Epstein while in custody. In fact, Attorney General William Barr said he was appalled by Epstein's death and said there were serious irregularities at the MCC. Well, can we have some evidence, Mr. Barr? I understand that you're busy doing other things, but this is pretty important here, right? You guys fumbled the ball. Let's be honest. Epstein was in your custody. Either he was murdered or he committed suicide under your watch. Like I always say, who is responsible? Why is there no accountability? The day after he was dead, you guys should have been dragged before Congress, at least before some sort of committee, some sort of oversight committee. But no. Everybody goes home to their family. Everybody goes on with their lives. They're drinking their beers at their barbecue, and they're shitty at their jobs. Me or you, we go to work, we screw up, forget it. We're fired, man. No doubt about it. See you later. Hit the road, Jack. No protections like this. Epstein's death makes it significantly harder to prosecute his co-conspirators, Sasse wrote. Wealthy and powerful men raped innocent children, and it is an outrage that so much of the evidence of these crimes died with Epstein while in your agency's custody. Did it really die? I mean, did it really die? Because Epstein's dead doesn't mean it died. What kind of information were in those raids? Where were the tapes? Where are the pictures? Who were in the pictures? Have you tracked down all these leads? These are the things that we don't have answers to. And these are the things that, they're going to make pretend they're asking about, but this lady who's coming before them is not going to be able to answer that. Once again, the devious Department of Justice needs to be held to account. They need to come forward. They need to do the right thing. However, 3 months after Epstein's death, details about the irregularities have been hard to come by as the DOJ, FBI, and BOP have conducted their investigations. Sasse wrote that he wanted to know whether steps were being taken to preserve evidence in Epstein's jail cell and otherwise. These and so many other questions deserve answers, and yet, months later, we're still in the dark about what happened to Epstein, the senator wrote. Look, when he died, he shouldn't even be moved out of that jail cell. He should be left in that jail cell until they could have evidence. There should have been an investigation of what went on. Among the questions, why was Epstein put on and then taken off suicide watch in the days leading up to his death? Also, did investigators have video evidence definitively proving that Epstein killed himself? It has been reported that at least one of the cameras malfunctioned inside the MCC. And now, see, that's how they obfuscate, right? Inside the MCC. That could mean anywhere. Was it the cameras watching his cell? Did they just malfunction just that day, right before he was killed or committed suicide? Did all the cameras malfunction or just the ones watching his cell? These are the questions that need to be answered. And no, you're not crazy for asking those questions. Unions representing BOP guards said their concerns about rampant staffing shortages at MCC and other BOP facilities around the country largely were ignored and made a high-profile death such as Epstein's inevitable. Both guards tasked with watching Epstein reportedly fell asleep and failed to watch over Epstein every 30 minutes. They reportedly fell asleep, huh? So they fell asleep, the cameras didn't work, the logs were changed. But no, don't ask any questions. Jake Tapper's going to tell you. Don Lemon will tell you. Come on. Come on. You could trust them, right? 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 9 days after Epstein's death, Barr replaced acting BOP director Hugh Hurwitz with Sawyer, the third BOP director in 2 years. She previously led the BOP from 1992 to 2003. Dr. Sawyer ought not to show up, Sasse said, unless she's willing to show up and answer questions about this. All right, well, like I said, salute, Ben Sasse. We're gonna see if you're about what you talk about. We're gonna see if you're really gonna bring that smoke. And I hope you do. And I hope you get that. At the very least, I hope you make them uncomfortable. Because at the end of the day, that's your job. You're a senator. You're the one making the laws. You're the one holding people accountable, but nobody's ever held accountable, no matter who's in the Senate, no matter who the president is. It's always the same story. Nobody is ever held accountable unless, let me add just a little something to that, unless somebody can find some political traction with it. You can find a sacrificial lamb politically, forget it. They love doing that. But anyone of note who was involved in any of these disgusting, heinous crimes that the intelligence community has committed, literally against the American people, nah, none of those people, none of them will be held to account. They're living the high life while Edward Snowden, a real American hero, is stuck living in Russia. All right? Julian Assange rotting away in prison in the UK because our disgusting, sick intelligence services, they have to have their hands on him because he blew the top off of their whole entire silly nonsense with the WikiLeaks drops. Not a hack, by the way. That was a leak, not a hack. Research Bill Binney. He'll explain the whole thing. Anyway, the next article is from the Post. New Epstein accuser says he asked for nude photos just a month before his arrest. Jeffrey Epstein harangued one of his victims for nude photos mere months before his arrest on sex trafficking charges, according to a new lawsuit filed against his estate Thursday. Juliette Bryant says in her Manhattan federal court lawsuit that she was an aspiring 20-year-old model in South Africa when she was introduced to the financier. Worst day of her life coming up soon, I'm guessing. Anytime you're introduced to a guy like this, a scumbag predator like this, you can bet that your life's about to get a lot more miserable. She claimed he would go on to forcibly rape her across the globe and continue to contact her right up until his arrest in July 2019. And what this does, folks, it just provides more evidence of what this guy was doing. It wasn't in a vacuum. People knew what was going on. The pilots, the butlers, the cleaning people, the yard people. I'm sorry, anyone that was around him for a lot of time and for, weeks at a time and days at a time knew that something was off with this man. I'm sorry. Epstein attempted to keep in contact with Juliette through email over the years, the suit reads. In June 2019, only 2 months before his death, Epstein sent Juliette an email asking her to send him nude photographs. Bryant, now 37, claims in court papers she was introduced to Epstein in 2002 by American model turned broadcast journalist Naja Hill. Oh, isn't that sweet? Boy, Naja Hill. We'll have her on our radar. I think maybe we'll take a little dive into what Mrs. Hill's been up to. Hill asked Juliette if she would like to meet Epstein, who she called the King of America. A financier, King of America. Nobody knows who his accounts were. Nobody knows if he was moving and shaking, but he's the King of America somehow? I wonder how that happens. The court papers read, Hill described Epstein as a well-connected billionaire who could help her with her modeling career and explained that he was visiting Africa with a former high U.S. government official, a famous actor, and a well-known comedian. All right, so that was the plane ride with Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and our good friend Bill Clinton. That was their trip to South Africa, obviously. So those are the three, the actor, the well-known comedian, and the government official. This is all factual stuff. You could research that yourself. Go ahead and Google it. You'll see that they did go on a trip there. Bryant says that she went to a restaurant with Epstein, the official, and the unnamed celebrities, and then attended a speech given by the official the next day in Cape Town. Epstein allegedly asked her to bring a modeling portfolio to him for casting and mentioned he was good friends with Victoria's Secret owner Les Wexner, papers say. Once again, Les Wexner. Are you kidding me with this guy? This guy's so ankle deep. Screw that. Let me rephrase that. Hip deep in this crap that how he isn't in front of an FBI agent already is absolutely beyond me and appalling. If his last name ended in a vowel, and he was from New York, and he was involved in some sort of gambling racket, oh, forget it. They'd be breaking into his house, dragging him and his wife out in their underwear. But no, involved in sex trafficking, raping kids? Bah, come on, man. We're not even going to talk to you. We don't believe that. That's because you're rich. You could never be involved in that, right? Sickening. It's truly sickening. Bryant next traveled to New York City, the lawsuit says, but was soon aboard Epstein's plane and on the way to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where she claims Epstein raped her. Instead of fulfilling her dreams of becoming a model in New York City, Juliet was subject to extreme and repeated sexual abuse, says the suit, which notes she was shuttled for 2 years between the financier's homes in Paris, New Mexico, New York City, and the Virgin Islands. In Paris, she says, she stayed with Epstein's reputed recruiter, Lady G. Maxwell, and was forced to pose nude for photographs taken by assistant Sarah Kellen. Remember, Sarah Kellen now. And see, this is why we have to do these daily drops. Where there's so much that gets forgotten and buried. Sarah Kellen is married to former NASCAR driver, I should say, Brian Vickers. Sarah Kellen Vickers needs to be held to account. For those years, Juliet felt like a prisoner and was afraid of betraying Epstein because of his money and power, the document reads. She was afraid he would hurt her or her family. In fact, the very first time Epstein brought Juliet to the United States, in order to scare her, he told her that when another woman had accused him of rape, he planted drugs in the woman's apartment and had her sent to prison. Now, mind you, the first time this Juliet met him, he was with Bill Clinton. What kind of clout does that give you if you show up with the ex-president of the United States of America, folks? Do you really think anyone wants to rat on you? Bill Clinton shows up with or without his Secret Service. I don't think it matters. But he shows up. Everybody understands what that means. Everybody understands that now means that he's vouching for Jeffrey Epstein. You don't just show up with somebody when you're that kind of guy if you're not vouching for the person they are. And if you are, how did you ever get to the position you're in anyway? Because you're a numbskull. In fact, excuse me. The lawsuit says Bryant last saw Epstein at his New Mexico ranch in 2004 when he took her to meet an unnamed government official. I wonder who that could be. And now this is speculation, okay? An unnamed government official in New Mexico. Bill Richardson, perhaps? At the meeting, Juliet believed that Epstein had brought her there so that the official could look her over, according to court papers, which say the meeting left her so upset that she fled back to South Africa. A lawyer for the executors of Epstein's $577 million estate did not return a message. He did not immediately return a message. Hill did not immediately return a message. Kellen could not be reached. Earlier Thursday, Epstein's estate announced it intended to launch a compensation fund to pay off accusers. Wow. So, once again, we have a news article here from the Post. And they know exactly who these people are, and they're not mentioning them. Bill Richardson, the unnamed government official, is my speculative opinion on that. And then the three, well, that's obvious. We know that it's documented in the logs that Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, and Chris Tucker, which pains me to say because who doesn't like Smoke Dog, right? All went to South Africa. Now, what they did in South Africa, I don't know. I don't have any evidence pointing one way or the other. But if Juliet Bryant is from South Africa and Epstein was doing what he was doing to her, the questions need to be asked. Did these guys know anything? Did they see anything? They need to be put under oath. Because this is just unacceptable. How many times do we have to read it in these articles, guys? How many times? All these high-powered people around them, and nobody stepping up to the plate. Nobody saying shit. So, here we are, right? Another day, another thread. Deeper into the rabbit hole we go. But they hope that we lose interest. They hope that we say, to hell with it. We're not covering it anymore. We got other things to do. Check out this impeachment. Oh, it's an election season. They are not throwing me off the scent. I can walk and chew gum at the same time. All right? So we will be here every single day, dropping our daily drops, some surprise episodes coming up, some other things in the works. And, we're going to keep on keeping on. And I know you folks are too, because I know I've had it. I know you've had it. And look, if Jesus even got pissed off and flipped over the table inside of the church, well, guess what? Maybe it's time we all stand up together and flip the table over on these scoundrels. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great night.